What you doing?
Ran out of space on my phone, so I'm deleting some stuff. By singing dog. By goal.
I pronounce you.
By wedding ceremony.
Stop. At Metro PCS, you get 2 free phones with twice as much memory.
Really?
Don't say bye to your memories. Switch to Metro PCS and get 2 free LG K20 Plus phones with 32 gigs when you switch 2 lines. Metro PCS. Wireless. Figure it out. Coverage not available in some areas. Sales tax not included in phone price. Excludes numbers on the T-Mobile network. See store for details and terms and conditions.
Blog Talk Radio.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Friday edition of Sin's Chat Corner. It's kind of unusual that I have a Friday evening show, but recently, obviously, as you know, or to those that have been following the show, I'm kind of up and down with my schedule lately, and so it's been kind of complicated to try to get some people squeezed in. So this interview is a long time in coming, courtesy of my dear friend, Deborah Patricia Wood in Canada, and we all know how much I love my Canadians, more than I can tell you. Today's guest, Colin Amey, is going to be on the show. He's a Canadian songwriter and singer and musician, and I'm hearing some very good things about him, and he's got himself a new release and all sorts of new stuff to tell us. So without further ado, I'm going to get him on the line, and we'll start the interview. Colin?
Yes. Hello.
Hi. Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going, actually. I was just listening to your music for the last 2 days, so I know a lot about you now.
Awesome. Well, it's good to know.
Well, there's a lot to know and there's a lot to tell, and I'm sure that Deborah hopefully reminded you, or I should say she warned you, that I have a tendency to get a little sassy on this show. So there's really, this is going to be very different than the usual interview.
That's fun.
Okay, good. We'll see.
Yeah.
You look like you're the kind of guy who can take anything, because I was looking at that video, a couple different videos of yours, and I'm like, oh, my God, this man would fit into any crowd whatsoever. You look very, very personable and very friendly, so I'm going to try to be very nice to you. I'm going to try.
Well, you know, I really am just the guy next door, so.
Really? Okay, well, we're
Yeah.
going to find out, actually. I kind of wanted to start off, you know, Deborah and I have been friends for quite some time, so she'll be the first to tell you that I have no filter. So basically, I just say anything that comes to mind, and so a lot of these questions are just going to be things that I'm curious about that I think the listeners are going to be curious about.
Okay.
Like, for instance, I've taken a look at your picture. I've actually looked at a number of your pictures. First of all, you look like you're Irish. You don't look like you're Canadian. You remind me of one of these little Irish boys, you know, with the hat on, and they're in a Celtic group, and they're probably have been associated with Anya. And I'm like, what the heck is that all about? You're Canadian.
Well, you know, I do have Irish and English background. You know, I have a lot of freckles. I have the reddish in my hair, or at least when I had hair. But no, my mom's side, like Deerings are Irish, and Lummises are English, and Amy is English. So yeah, I'm kind of a mixed bag of you know, English, Irish, Canadian. So yeah.
Really? So I wasn't that far off base then. Cool. Because I thought, yeah, I saw the hat and I figured I could see you definitely playing a little Irish jig someplace. And I thought it was kind of cute. I'm like, it's really neat, actually. It is. It's nice. Now, I've done some research on you, obviously, and I've been told that your career initiated at the age of 3.
Right. Well,
now,
you know, I started singing when I was 3 or 4, you know, somewhere around there. You know, so yeah, it was. Ever since I can remember, I've always wanted to play music. It's always been a passion of mine. It's never gone away. You know, it's part of my DNA. It's what I love to do. So, yeah.
I gotcha. Okay. Well, the reason I ask that is because I've always, you know, I've had a lot of people that come on my show, and whether it's acting-wise or otherwise, and they always start so young, and I say to myself, how the heck does one remember that when they're that little like that, right? Because, I mean, when you're first starting out and you're so tiny like that, you don't really remember much of what you're doing. I mean, when did the inkling come to you, maybe not necessarily when you're 3, but when did it come to you where you dawned on you, I should say, yeah, this is what I want to do with the rest of my life. This is what matters to me.
Well, my folks have always been very, very supportive, first of all. So, you know, I mean, they've always been very encouraging. I do remember, you know, watching Elvis on TV at some point during those, you know, those formative years. And I just remember saying, hey, you know what, I think I can do that. You know, and when you're young and you're fearless, you know, you can just kind of just go for it. So I think that's kind of what happened with me is I mean, I can't really, you know, I'm not really good at anything else except music. So I just, ever since I can remember, I've always wanted to follow that passion, follow that dream. Yeah.
Okay. And then were you, when did you develop the writing component of it? Or was that something that just kind of came hand in hand when you started this thing, you started to write?
I tried writing a song when I was about 13, I guess. That's when I wrote my first song. And I remember the title. It was called Mystery Girl. And, of course, when you dig those old songs back out, you go, oh, my God, that was so cheesy, which is what I did. But I remember getting together with some band members when I was a teen, and we tried writing then. It's just something that I kind of developed over time. It's not something that comes easy for me. I really like to co-write. I think co-writing is important because sometimes when you're trying to work on an idea, you can get a little stagnant, or you can get stuck on something. And I find that co-writing is it's a lot better for me because you can bounce ideas off of one another. So I find that works well for me. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, talk to me a little bit about, because I know you're from Toronto, obviously, and I'm trying to collaborate. I'm just starting a show, actually, for all Canadians, as a matter of fact, and all the different artists, musicians, theaters, etc. And I'm going to be visiting Toronto. So what can you tell me about that particular part of Canada?
Toronto is an amazing city. It's, it's kind of like a smaller version of New York. There's always something to do. You can get any kind of food from any kind of country in the world in Toronto. And as I said, no matter what time of year it is, there's always something going on in Toronto. I absolutely love the city.
Really?
Yeah.
And how, you've been there your whole, no, wait, you weren't there your whole life, I know that, because you relocated. So how long have you called that home?
I guess I've been here in the GTA for about 10 years now. So, and I find that, it's a pretty good location because, there's a lot of little towns that I can go play in that aren't far from Toronto. So it's a nice little location for me, at least, anyway.
Okay, I gotcha. And I obviously I must ask this question just because a number of my friends are obviously artists and musicians. Do you have a particular preference, meaning when you go out and do an acoustical solo set as compared to doing it with the band? At this stage of the game, where are you at? Which do you prefer?
I really enjoy playing live with the band because, it's obviously more energetic. But I do enjoy going out and playing on my own acoustically, little pubs, because you don't have to follow any kind of a set list. You can just sort of play whatever pops into your mind at the time. You can just go, oh, well, these people look like they would like Neil Young or Tom Petty or whatever. So you just kind of you throw it out there. I don't know. I guess I would have to say I enjoy them equally. It's hard to prefer one over the other. Playing with a live band, obviously, like I said, you can play off the guys in the band on stage a lot more. So it's hard to kind of pick one or the other. I kind of like them both, as long as I'm playing. I'll put it that way. Yeah.
Right. I was going to say, as long as you're in front of the audience, that makes sense. Now, a detail I found out about you, there's a publication that's entitled The Journal, which is produced by the CBC, who coincidentally had made you the subject of a report at a mere age, I think it was before 10 years of age. Now, maybe address this in your personal opinion. There's a reason I'm asking this. The CBC, I'm wanting to ask about them. I had seen an interview, of course, which is the inspiration for my new show, Sims Canadian Connections. Shirley Douglas, who's the mother of Kiefer Sutherland, both of them had done a short interview in reference to where they talk about the CBC and the fact that they lack the ability to provide actual star status to the individuals in Canada and that they don't give enough exposure. Just talk a little bit about that. Do you have an opinion as to what relates to that, since you have more personal experience than I or others, let's say?
I'm not really sure. I have to say that I probably don't really have much of an opinion as far as that goes. I know that it's really, really hard to break in Canada. There's obviously a lot of talented people who are trying to make a career in the music business. It is really tough, and it would be nice if the CBC, was more supportive, and I'm sure, in years to come, that will be the case. But yeah, it's very, very tough here. It's a huge country in land mass, and it's hard to get a break. I will say that.
Really? Okay, I gotcha. Now, do you think comparatively, let's say somebody like yourself, for instance, someone like yourself, let's say you went ahead and you packed up in the next year, you moved to the United States. Do you think undoubtedly your success level would raise, and obviously it'd be much easier for you to become more accomplished here in the States as compared to if you stay there?
It seems to me, and it always looks different on the outside, but from what I can see, is that Americans are more receptive to the arts. It appears to me that whenever you're doing a show south of the border, and I have friends that obviously tour. They say playing in the States is way different. Just in the fact that more people come out to shows and they seem to respond more. And that's not to say
Sure.
that Canadians aren't receptive. They are. It's just that I think Canadians have a little bit more of a governor, if that makes any sense. But
okay.
that's the way it seems to me. So yeah.
Okay, got it. I just wanted to get a bird's eye view on that. Thank you so much. Wonderful. Okay, I wanted to go into another area, one of which that you are distinguished as it relates to some of the other people that have been on my show before. At the age of 15, I know that you had done now did you perform in commercials or did you provide the music for commercials, just so I understand correctly?
What it was I had some friends that had a studio and a jingle production company, and I used to sing on radio jingles. That would get played, through the various radio stations, in the area. So that's how I kind of, sort of cut my teeth in the studios. That I was doing radio jingles, and I got a lot of experience doing that. So and that was very, very good for me because I actually learned how to sing harmonies and sing to myself, and so I think that was a really cool experience for me.
Ah, I gotcha. Now, is that something, because I was going to ask what you gained from that experience, which you've now mentioned, but I guess the bigger question is this. Is it your hope or aspiration that eventually your music will get into other forums? By that I mean television, theater, film, etc. Is that one of your particular goals, or are you working towards that in any manner?
I'm actually not specifically working towards that, but I haven't ruled that out. I think it's very important to explore different avenues of getting your art out there and getting your music to the masses. So I think that would be a great idea, and I'm sure that a lot of people are exploring that avenue as well because again, it is another avenue of getting your music out there.
Oh, definitely, 100% actually, and it's quite an accolade as I've heard. I've had a couple of friends that have done it. It's like it's so nice to turn on something on TV and all of a sudden, boom, there's your work right there. It's got to be really cool because I'm sure you got some of that obviously with the commercials. Oh yeah, definitely. Now I went that day and I took a perusal of some of the different various shows that I've done with varied musicians, and only a select few that I find utilize what I would call out of the norm instruments, because I'm not a musician, of course. So to me, it's always the standard guitar, drums, etc. So for instance, I know that your band incorporates usage of the fiddle, which I've seen obviously in the video and heard in your music. Tell us, in your opinion, what ways do you think that instrument further improves the sound quality of a particular ballad?
Well, it obviously gives it a different flavor. It's one of those things where it's not going to work in every single song. I think whatever the song is, it might call for a different instrumentation. Like, for example, I have a song called Effortless on my EP, and it's all acoustic. There's no electric guitar in it, and it's simply because, that particular song didn't really call for that type of instrument. But, fiddle is an instrument that a lot of people love. And, it seems to work well in the Go for a Soda song and a few others. So, yeah, it's kind of one of those things where the producer has a vision and he's like, okay, I can see fiddle here, or, steel is going to work there, more piano. And so, yeah, it all depends on the song, I think.
Okay, I gotcha. Now, for you yourself personally, besides playing guitar, are you able-bodied in playing other things? Or would you like to learn how to play other things, or you're just set on what you got?
You know what? In school, in the school band, I played drums. Drums is one of those instruments where, I was always getting in trouble at school because I was always tapping, pencils on the table and disturbing others. So,
sure.
I'm a drummer at heart, I would have to say. I love playing drums, and I have played a few gigs playing drums. Now I'm not the best drummer, but I can get the job done. As far as guitar goes, yeah, I love playing guitar, and I'm not the best guitar player, but I can play for what's called. So I kind of like to dabble at different instruments, but I'm not a master at any one of them. But the only thing I haven't really been able to play is wind instruments, which is okay with me.
Really?
Yeah.
No interest, no desire whatsoever to do a wind instrument? That sounds kind of cool, actually.
Yeah, I just, I just don't think I'd be very good at it,
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine. We like you just the way you are, and we like how you sing, and we like how you play that guitar, so I think you're good right where you are. But who never knows. Now, I want to touch on this because I don't know if this is a Deborah Patricia Wood thing or if this is an industry standard, because I notice all you Canadian musicians do this infamous radio tour. So every time I see that she takes on another person, I notice that you guys are kind of going station to station to station to station to station, whether it's virtually or in person, obviously. So I guess this was my question relative to that. Now, to those, because I'm assuming there might be musicians that are listening that are either contemplating taking the leap into the business or others that are frustrated because they are musicians and they're not quite that accomplished. So, question for you, in your mind, do you think things such as the media tour or radio show tour are necessary? Let me just elaborate on that. Meaning, some folks have told me that they state specifically that social media alone will breed popularity. There's some out there that believe if you are socially interactive enough and you play enough, that's all you need. You don't need to go to the other mediums, TV, radio, that sort of stuff. What's your take on that?
Well, I think it is necessary to get out there and physically, meet and shake hands with the folks at radio, and simply because it shows them that you're real and accessible, and you really want to thank the ones that are supporting you. And and kind of just even just to meet the ones who are because everyone's tough. It's a tough industry and it's tough to get to get out there at radio. But I do think it is very, very important to get out and make the rounds and meet and greet the people at radio for sure. Because at the end of the day, they're the decision makers. And it's important. I feel that. It's a very, very good move to get out there and do that. Now, social media is good too, but why stop there? Get out there and meet the people that are making the decisions.
Okay. And just out of curiosity, for those that are listening that don't know you, obviously, now, do you handle, like there are some performers out there that don't handle their own social media, like Twitter, Facebook, et cetera, and then there are those that are 100% hands-on. So, like, if people are approaching you, are they really getting to you, or is it half and half, or how does that work?
No, it's 100% me, at least for now. I maintain all the Twitter, all my Twitter accounts and Facebook accounts and all that stuff. That's all me. So, and I noticed that when you go on a few other artists, their numbers are way, way up there. I'm sure that they have people manning that and looking after that for them. But for now, I'm controlling everything.
And you're enjoying that fan contact as far as just people reaching out to you. Do you find that they are going out there and contacting you via Twitter or via Facebook and having some great feedback? And do they enjoy having that personal interaction with you?
Oh, absolutely. And I love it too. I love, getting personal messages from people who have heard my music on radio and that. So, it's kind of a nice feeling to know that you're out there, even though you don't see it. It's happening, and when I get Facebook messages from people, I think it's very, very cool. I love it, and I love interacting with them.
Awesome, wonderful. Yeah. Okay, now this is kind of a switch because I was kind of surprised to find out about this because at one period you had selectively chose to perform a single that was entitled "I Can't Wait for Christmas." which you took the download profits, and they were contributed to Sean Hogan's Christmas Wish. Was he a personal friend of yours, or were you just suggested to do this, or what brought all that about?
Well, what happened was, at the time, I was working with Thomas and Denise Wade under the name Wade Any Wade. And Sean's a personal close friend of mine. I've done the Christmas tour with him a couple of years back in, I guess it was, 2005, 2006. And I've done a bunch of vocals on Sean's recordings. Now, when we'd heard that he had fallen ill and had throat cancer, we were told that he wasn't going to be able to go out and do his annual Christmas tour, where he donates the profits to various food banks and whatnot. So we decided that, it might be kind of cool if we, did something where it would help benefit his cause. There was a concert that, the different artists went out to and played at, and we decided to do the Christmas song and donate the profits, which was a little different, but we thought it was a good idea.
Oh, definitely. I imagine so. Now, did you create the song from scratch, or was this just a collaborative effort, or how did that come about?
No, it was a collaborative effort with Thomas Wade and another writer, a Canadian writer who lives in Nashville by the name of Tim Taylor. So the three of us got together and wrote the song at Thomas's house. So yeah, it was. I'm very proud of it. Yeah.
I imagine that you would be, definitely. And I did do some digging around, and I couldn't find anything, so I have to ask this question, obviously, for one, idle curiosity, and to let others know. Relative to other causes, pet charities of yours, do you interact or do those sorts of things? And if so, what are they, so people can look them up, check them out?
I like to, donate and perform for, cancer, for cancer benefits, and sick kids. I think I've done some stuff for them. So I would donate to the cancer and like I said, the sick kid charities because it is a good cause. And we all have people who have been affected by cancer. So I think it's important to participate in those types of events as well.
And are you finding, as you are gaining more popularity, are you being asked to participate in things such as this more so?
Here and there, yeah. It seems to be here and there. I mean, it's always been one of those things where that they've always came to me, but it does seem to be more frequently these days now that that I'm back out on radio and building up on the profile once again. So it does seem, but it's cool. I enjoy it.
Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Now we want to switch gears a little bit because I know that those that are listening are most likely fans of yours, including myself. That to them, that's a symbol of success, as it is to me, and oftentimes that makes you larger than life to some people. I'm not sure if performers are aware of that, but a lot of times people will magnify you to such a large extent because of who you are and what you do, of course. So I'm also able to say, of course, that you are a regular guy. We're not being this iconic performer. You are a son to someone, obviously a brother, obviously a husband. I was very excited to see that you actually liked my sister show, Sam Crow Radio. So that leads me to believe that you're a Sun fan.
Yes, I definitely am a Sons of Anarchy fan, yeah.
Big, awesome. Yeah. Really?
I love that show.
That's awesome.
I love it.
So I got to ask, because I'm the girl because I get to interview the cast every week. So I get a different cast member every week. That's an awesome gig to have, by the way, but I get to do that all the time. And so I get little pieces of dirt here and there, and I'm getting to meet some of these guys, which I'm excited about. So since I know you're a Suns fan, I have to ask the inevitable question, because we are like 60 days out. I know only very little of what's going on behind the scenes right now. So I want to get your take. Where do you think this is all going to go? Tell me the three main characters. Tell me where you think they're going. By that I mean Jax and Gemma and Clay.
Okay, well, it's been a while, but Clay has lost his head of the table, right?
Right.
Gemma. So where it left off is Gemma got arrested. Am I correct?
No, Tara.
Not Gemma. Gemma. Tara.
turned her in. Yeah, right. Yep.
Yeah. So I'm not really sure where it's going to go. It's kind of, I've been away from it, so I can't really remember what happened, but I know that Tara got arrested. Yeah, I think Clay.
And we know that Clay is going to prison.
Yeah, Clay's going down. So I'm lost. I really don't know what's going to happen, but I have to tune in.
Okay, yeah, well, definitely, without a doubt. And the other question I always like to ask people is this. Maybe it's because I'm a girl, but this last season around, I have to say that this has gotten violent, and meaning the level of violence has gotten higher, the level of the oh my God factor. I mean, would you agree? I mean, do you think it's become too violent in your opinion?
That particular show? No,
yeah.
No, I don't. I don't think it's too violent. No, it is what it is.
Really?
I mean, take away the violence, and
that's a guy.
It's take away the violence, and it's just another soap opera.
Oh my goodness gracious. That's true. I guess that is true. Maybe it's because I'm a girl. Some of that stuff was a little hard to take this year. The tongue thing, that was a little.
Having said that, I it is a television show, right? It's for entertainment.
Right.
It's
Right.
but it has its place, right? And I think it fits with that show.
Definitely. I mean, yeah, and I do see where it's a necessity. That kind of goes without saying and stuff. Do you have a favorite character on the show?
Yeah, I love Tigger. I love Traeger.
I knew it. I knew that. Somehow in the back of my head, I just knew if I asked that.
Fellow Canadian. What can you say?
Not Juice? No, you don't like Juice? See, a lot of people like the Juice. But he's going to die. I know this. Well, I don't know this, but I have a high suspicion he's going to die this season. Juice.
Juice. No, he's the half black guy, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and he's the one who got busted.
Yeah, and he's sort of torn between, loyalty to the club and Clay, right? So yeah.
Yes,
no
that's
idea
correct.
On,
you betcha.
But he'll probably get killed off. I have to agree with you.
Okay, thank you so much. I will make sure when I get off this interview today and I talk to Emilio Rivera, I will give him your thoughts because I'm sure he's probably shooting right now on that. Some of the other things I noticed about you, because I like the personal stuff. I dig that. You like The Shining. That says something because when I say I like things like that at the horror classics, and especially when they're a little out there, like the Red Rum thing, people look at me like I'm fucking nuts. So I can appreciate the fact that you like The Shining. You've listed Spider-Man as an inspirational person. Okay, I really didn't need you to do that because that kind of freaked me out. Thank you so much. Spider-Man inspires you. So I got to ask why, how, or were you just doing the ha-ha funny? Because I'm like, when I was looking at your inspirational people, there's Spider-Man. You got Gene Simmons, you got John Bon Jovi, and then you have Spider-Man. What up with that?
Well, you've really done your homework, haven't you?
That's my job, dear.
When I was a kid, when I was a kid, I was a Spider-Man fanatic. Everything was Spider-Man. So, that's where that comes from. Yeah, I still think Spider-Man's cool.
He is kind of cool, actually. But you know what? Iron Man kicks his ass. I got to say that much.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I got to agree with you there.
True.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Next order of business on the personal side of things. We always like to get the dirt, and we know that you're married, and some women have already told me that you're hot. I don't know why they're telling me this because, well, you are Canadian, but you're not the Canadian I want. And you are married. Yes, he's married, by the way. I just wanted to throw that out there. So I like to get the dirt about the missus. So tell us about the missus, whatever you're comfortable with telling us.
Okay. Well, I am just going to put this out there now. Not a lot of people know this, but I think it's safe to say we're expecting our first. So.
Oh my God.
Yeah, she's due in January. It's our first. We've been together for about 10 years now. And we just got married a couple of years ago in Mexico. Now, Lori, where I met her is I met her at Country Music Week back in, I'll say 2001. So,
really?
she was, yes, I mean, she had done a record and, she's a musician like myself. She's other things keep her busy these days, but yeah, that's how we met. We met through the music business.
Oh, that's so neat.
Yeah, and she's she's a pretty good little singer herself. So.
Oh, I can imagine so. Now, does this with you having your career, I mean, when you have dual musicians living in the house, does that work in terms of like, is she gigging? Is she out like you are? I mean, does she have a regular job? How does that work exactly?
Well, she does have a regular job now. I mean, this is being a musician is an expensive hobby. She has a job. She works for Toronto Police Service as a civilian. So she works a lot of shift work. So we're always coming and going. Sometimes we have different schedules. She's very, very supportive of my career, and she's sacrificed a lot for me. So anyone that would do that is she's a great gal. What more can I say about her? So, yeah.
That's so lovely. Now, I have to ask a very serious question because I know I have this problem in Milwaukee with some of my friends. So let's say Colin's out and he's performing, and every guy typically that's a musician that's considered to be attractive, you've got your little groupies that follow you around every single place that you play at and stuff. So does she have a problem with that? Like meaning the excess groupies that kind of just not drop to your feet, but you know how you just have some of those that just kind of go place to place to place and follow you? Is that ever an issue for her?
No, you know what? If anything, she gets a kick out of it. Because she knows that, that's part of the game. You know what I mean? I mean, as long as I come home at the end of the gig, then everything's cool. So she realized. I mean, she gets it. Her being a musician herself, she knows that it's just part of the deal.
How cute is that? Now, are you going to sing to the baby? I hope, because that would be so sweet.
I've already started singing to her belly.
But, that's so sweet. Awesome.
Yeah, but it's still, it's still early, right? But, they say that this part goes fast, so we're definitely enjoying it. So.
Oh, I bet you. Goodness gracious. Well, kudos to that one. I'm so excited now. Now I have something to talk about tonight with all my friends. This is awesome. Have you noticed at all that you've had to, due to the level of success that you're having, have you had to alter your personal life at all? Sometimes as you go higher up in the ranks, of course, that means or requires some change in how you live, and are you more recognizable, and is that okay? Have you had to alter things? Are you a little uncomfortable, or is everything kind of status quo?
No, everything is still pretty normal. I can still, go down the street and, nobody bothers me. I mean, I guess that's part of, or that's one of the best parts of, not being, a huge superstar is that, everything still seems pretty normal, right? I would have to say that no, everything's still pretty cool, and even if even if and when the day comes that, I have to, alter my lifestyle, then I'll cross that bridge when I get to it, right?
Oh, definitely. I agree with you 100%, actually. And have you had the benefit of meeting the other individuals, meaning some of the other Canadian musicians, like Matt Williams, Tiana Woods, Sawmill Road, Brett Kingswell?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that first part there, Cindy, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you hear me? Oh, okay, I was just curious. If you have met all of the other fellow Canadians, meaning like Brett Kingswell or Tiana Woods, Sawmill Road, Matt Williams, all the other fellow musicians as yet?
The only one that you mentioned in that group is Tiana. I've actually did some vocals on one of her recordings, so we kind of met through Facebook, and so yeah, that she's the only one that I'm kind of familiar with. Like, I'm familiar with everybody, but I kind of have a bit of a rapport with her just because I sang some vocals on her recording.
Wonderful.
Very nice girl.
Well, absolutely wonderful. Yes. Oh, I like her so very much. I can't stand it. She's an amazing gal. Can't say enough about her. Okay, speaking of saying enough about you, now I'm going to make you blush quite a bit because now I'm going to gush about how wonderful you are. I have quite a few things to list here, actually. To me, in my mind, because in my field I'm a writer, so to me you'd be the equivalent of an Oscar winner, basically, with just the numerous amounts of awards that have been bestowed to you. I'm just going to mention a couple of different things here to those that don't know. Back in 1990, your single Gonna Last Forever was number 16 in Canada. You had achieved the Rising Star Award through the Country Performer Fan Association. You've received the Best Performer Award, Heartbeat Award, Outstanding New Male Artist, and that's through the Canada Country Music Awards. And your current nomination is Male Vocalist of the Year for the CMA of Ontario. That's pretty impressive, my friend. You're like actually bigger than Taylor Swift because everybody raves about Taylor Swift. I have no idea why because I can't stand her. She drives me insane and she makes me want to scream. But, oh, my God, she's so wonderful. She wins things all the time. Yeah, whatever. Now, in my mind, I'm certain, of course, that each of these awards has meant something to you. But is there one nod or achievement on the top of the list for you that you haven't gotten that you want?
Well, it would always be nice to win a Grammy or at least be nominated, but that's a while down the road, I think. But the CCMA male vocalist nomination was pretty cool. I kind of look at that one as being probably the one that stands out, just simply because you're included in such great company. I believe at the time. Jason McCoy, he's had a great career. Gord Banford is really hot right now. There's the list goes on. Paul Brandt, they've all had their CCMA nominations and awards. So just to be included in that type of company is pretty cool with me.
Definitely, I imagine so. Two more questions relative to that. First of all, your thoughts on the industry, meaning it's been said in the past that a lot of times, and this happens in the United States, like if it becomes a culture or a pop culture favorite, chances are great that they're usually slated to win. Like, for instance, the Taylor Swifts of the year or the Carrie Underwoods of the world. In Canada, do you feel that that's the same way? Meaning, like, if they've become a pop culture favorite, they're usually 9 times out of 10 going to be the ones that win?
Yeah, I would say that it has something to do with it. I mean, when you're speaking in terms of like Taylor Swift and Carrie Underwood, Canada has their Carly Rae Jepsen, and I think there's a few others. Names kind of get away from me right now, but yeah, I do think it it has something to do with whether they actually get the nod or not, for sure.
Gotcha. And now for you personally, I know it's going to sound like an odd question, but I do this to myself all the time. Looking back at all of this, and I would ask you, do you feel that each of these was deserved, meaning that how you win something or you're acclimated something and you say to yourself, you know what, I just don't know if I was at that point where I've earned this. Was this a shock to you? Did you think, yeah, I was going to be further along when I got all this, or what was that like for you?
I definitely, think that, I could have been more prepared and I could have, worked a little harder. I mean, hindsight is 20/20, right? And I mean, I'm always looking back on my career going, I wonder if I, did my best. You're always thinking that. You're always, at least myself. I mean, from time to time I'll second guess myself. But yeah, when they come up, when the nominations and awards come up, it's always a shock because you always think someone else is going to get it, right? So, yeah, but I do feel that I could have probably worked a little bit harder and probably been a little more prepared for sure.
Oh, goodness gracious. My goodness. Well, congratulations to you, my friend, because, my God, that is quite impressive, to say the least. I mean, it's amazing.
Thank you.
You're very, very welcome, actually. I just want to take a side note of levity here before we start talking about all the very beautiful music. And, by the way, we're going to play your music over soda towards the end of the interview. But I need to ask you a favor because you're Canadian, and I need some help.
Okay.
I'm coming to your fair city. I'm coming to Toronto.
Okay.
I'm hoping.
You want to crash? I got room.
Because I'd like to. You know what? I'm going to probably take you up on that because if Deborah doesn't snatch me, because I would love to stay with Deborah, I'm coming there. I'm going to launch this radio show. I've been talking to Deb about this, and I think I really want to do it. Two questions. First of all, I would like to ask you on air or off air, or whatever you would prefer. I would love it if you would be one of the musicians that would come and play. I would absolutely love that.
Oh yeah, I'm there for sure. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Would love to.
Yes. I mean, you're the first person I've asked, as a matter of fact, because I haven't gotten an actual. I haven't figured out. In my mind, I kind of have a way in which we're going to do all this, but I'm like, yeah, I should probably start asking people. But you're in Toronto, so you're very convenient, so this would work out quite well. And I'm honored that you would even ask me, for sure. Oh, my goodness. You know what? The minute Deborah opens up her mouth and says, I got this person, that's all that needs to be said. Then I researched you. Then I listened to you. Now I've talked to you, and I'm impressed. And I would be an idiot not to ask you. So that was question one, and I got a yes. So I'm very happy. Now, this is an even more important question.
Okay.
If you knew me well enough, if you were my dear friend, you would tell me this. And I ask every Canadian this. I need to figure out what one component about a Canadian woman that I might possess or find, because I have been on a mad hunt for 2 years to get a date with this one Canadian that I'm crazy about. Now, he's an A-list celebrity, mind you, which is a little crazy.
Okay.
So what are Canadian women like? Because I'm like, once I come to Canada, the hope is I might, his mother is coming to this event. So maybe if the mom comes, I can score a date with the guy, right?
Right.
Okay,
Well,
so what's a Canadian woman like?
A Canadian woman is strong, a good sense of self, which you seem to have.
Thank you.
A sense of humor, and not take yourself too seriously. That's a good quality. Independent.
That's pretty simple, actually. Yeah.
Independent.
And you sound
sure
like you all have. I am. You guys all sound like you have that accent, or is it just my imagination? But it just sounds like you just sound a little, not funny, but you just sound different than I do.
Well, I have an accent. I have an accent to you, right?
Yes, you do. You don't sound like me.
It all depends on where you go in Canada. Out west, the people sound different than out east. Obviously, in the Maritimes, you've got the Maritime accent. And in Ontario, I don't hear an accent, but I'm sure we have one. So.
Really? Okay. Interesting. Well, thank you so much. Now you've helped me out here a little bit. I got to get prepared for this, and it's going to take like 2 months. So thank you so much for that. Thank you for saying yes. I appreciate it. Yay! Now, I want to talk a little bit about the albums that you have. You've done 3. The 1998 one, which is self-titled, and obviously your name, which is Colin Amey. In the year 2000, What My Heart Don't Know. And then the year 2006, Getaway. And then, of course, obviously the new EP, which we're going to talk about. So let's talk about these first 3. The 98, 2000, 2006. So a review of each as we go down each one. Tell me, in your mind, which element is more predominant? Which came across better, more successfully? The writing component or the actual music itself in each of these albums as you go down? Because obviously you changed from 98 to 2000, 2006. I'm just curious of your take on that, what you might share with the listener.
Well, I think when I started, the first one in 98, it was kind of like just, get it out there and just see what happens. And I wrote the first album pretty much with the exception of one song, which I co-wrote, but I wrote the whole first album by myself. So it was basically just kind of, throwing it out there and see what happens. And it wasn't really calculated, and I didn't really spend a lot of time. When you're young, you're green, right? So you just kind of get out there and here it is. With What My Heart Don't Know, which came in 2000, I co-wrote that album with Barry Brown. So obviously I learned a lot from him, from his writing and working with him, and just co-writing, because, as I said, co-writing was new to me at that time, and I learned a lot for sure. And then as time went on, I kind of got away from it for a while, and I went through some personal stuff, and I was married before and got divorced and all that. So I had to kind of go back to the drawing board. So when I came out with Getaway, I worked with Rick Hutt, who was famous for working with Jamie Warren, Bev from the Hood, the Northern Pikes, Tom Cochran. So the production value on that record really seemed to, it got a little more slick and a little more glossy, and it was a very, very good sounding record. I have people tell me that, the earlier stuff, from What My Heart Don't Know was, the songs were a little bit more, I don't know, it's hard to describe, but they were a little bit more right for radio at the time. And when I came back in 2006, the landscape of radio had changed quite a bit. We had a lot more newer artists that were breaking in at that time. So, it was really, really tough at that period. And then, when I came out with with this new EP, I've been writing and working with Thomas Wade for the past several years. So I find that the newer material is, it's obviously evolved, and you're always more excited about the newer stuff. So, I'd like to think that, everything has kind of evolved a little bit more each time I went out there. So I feel, and having said that, I feel really, really confident about the new music and getting it out there. And, again, we'll see what happens. But you're never really 100% prepared. You're always learning, which is good, because you take the experience from, the previous album and you apply that to the next. So, and then the next and so on. So it's always, I like to think that you're always evolving.
Definitely. Makes perfect sense. Do you think in any of your music, whether it be back then or now, one of the reasons why your fans like it so much is because there's a sense of relatability to it, do you think?
Well, I just hope that they like it. At the end of the day, really, that's what it's all about. I mean, you do stuff and you're always wondering, or you're always, hoping that, it's accepted and that, radio embraces it and that the fans like it,
Right.
So, but I do think that, there's something for everybody, with this new EP. You've got, I've got a, party song and Go for a Soda, The World Will Come Around. It's kind of an inspirational thing where it's, don't worry about what people think, just, march to your own drum. And at the end of the day, people are going to come around to it anyway. So, don't worry about it. Somebody loves him. It's a good message of, you should never by its cover. Somebody's out there and somebody cares about this person that you're singing about. So, I think there's a little something for everybody. I mean, Effortless is a love song, and hopefully it'll come across as, a wedding song for people. And so, yeah, I think that there's something for everybody on this record.
I gotcha. Okay, which brings us up to the obvious, which is the Go for a Soda that we were talking about. I happen to be watching the video, and to those of you who have not seen the video and have just listened to the song, there's two things I got from it. I absolutely love the classic car backdrop in that video. It's awesome. It reminds me of some of the places I've been to here in town. I love the cars. I love the fact that you got these. One of the guys in your band looks like a Harley guy, and I totally got a kick out of that. I'm like, oh my God, I could totally see him on a bike. I could totally see you on a bike, by the way, too. I thought that was so cool. You have this ability, this finite. Oh, go ahead.
It's funny that you say that because the guy, the Harley guy in the band is actually my brother.
Oh my God!
So,
are you serious?
Yeah, I'm serious. It's my brother Kevin. Yeah. So, but he used to play. Yeah, he used to play in bands. We used to play in bands together, when we were kids. So,
right.
But he happens to be a long haul truck driver now. So I was lucky that I was able to, get him for the video because he's usually on the road. So
I imagine.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. And, I noticed that in watching it, not every performer can do this because a lot of times I watch some videos where I'm kind of not bored, but it's just you play very well to the camera. You have you do a very good job of that. I like the tats because I just like the boys with the tattoos, so I got to give you kudos on that one. Someone once said to me, as it was relative to music, they had said that what they call the quote-unquote silly factor, like your song, and that's not down whatsoever, but it's got a very light, very fresh feel to it, so we would give it the silly factor, so to speak. Sometimes that can cause unprecedented success due to the mentality of most, meaning that a lot of times when people listen to music, they just want to dance and jump around. They don't always necessarily have a meaning or a message to it. Is that what you were striving to achieve with this song?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that it's the song. I mean, and like I said, it's a party song. It's a Go for a Soda. I was going for the tailgate party kind of theme, and I think it worked out well. But I really think that for that type of song, it really wasn't calling for much. We just kind of get out there and be crazy and have fun, and don't worry about how you look because you're among friends anyway. So, yeah, I think that I think it worked well for sure.
I would agree 100%, actually. Although it could have worked better if you would have said, like, go for a glass of wine, go for a glass of brandy. You know, I was just thinking that in my own head as I'm listening. Like, what the F is this? He's talking soda when we should be talking, like, wine or something. But that's okay. I understand. It means it applies to everybody. I understand. I'm okay with that. It's all right. I wanted to take a minute, so we'll take exactly 3 minutes and 27 seconds because I'm going to play your song right now so everybody can listen to it and hear what I've seen and what I've heard and get a feel for what you're like. So let's play it. It's called Go for a Soda.
Might as well go for a soda, nobody hurts and nobody cries. Might as well go for a soda, nobody drowns and nobody dies. You're worried about the mood, you wanna have it your way, I want it mine. All this debate go around and the fool makes me thirsty for love. Might as well go for a soda, nobody hurts and nobody cries. Might as well go for a soda, nobody drowns and nobody dies. Might as well go for a soda. Life seems to be a bomb beside your head with a bomb in my head is love. Oh yeah. All this debate that go around and the blue moon makes me thirsty for love. Might as well go for a soda, nobody hurts and nobody cries. Might as well go for a soda, nobody drowns and nobody dies. Might as well go for a soda, it's better than standard, it's better than life. Might as well go for a soda. Might as well go for a soda, nobody hurts and nobody cries. Might as well go for a soda, nobody drowns and nobody dies. Might as well go for a soda. Might as well go for a soda, nobody hurts and nobody cries. Might as well go for a soda, nobody drowns and nobody dies. Might as well go for a soda. Nobody hurts, nobody cries. Might as well go for a soda. Nobody drowns, nobody dies. Go for a soda.
Wow. Is that weird to hear yourself?
Well, sometimes, but I'm getting used to it.
Yeah, I'm glad you are because I think I've listened to one show I've done in 2 years. I'm like, oh, my God, I hate listening to the sound of myself. So, yeah, I mean, and just in listening to that, because obviously most people don't know this, it is a very fun and it is a very, it magnifies to me the one thing that stands out, I think, more so about you than anything else. You have really a beautiful voice. You really do.
Thank you.
Regardless of the mixing and the sound. You really do. You have a very, very nice voice.
Well, I love to sing.
I can tell you this.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And like I said, singing has always been my passion, and I love to sing. I sing every day, so I just love it.
Wonderful. Does this mean you're going to expect your little bambino to smile, or your little bambino to sing too?
I hope it has some musical talent, but if it doesn't, oh well.
If it doesn't, if he or she doesn't, yes.
Yeah, see, Lori, my wife, she gets upset with me if I refer to it as he, because she's like, you don't know what it is. So, so I have to say it until he or she comes along. But no, I'm looking forward to teaching them, he or she, how to play, and it's going to be an adventure and one I'm looking forward to.
I would agree, 100%, definitely. So now, before I get to the very tail end of this interview, tell us, for the near future, let's say the next 6 months of the year, what's next for Colin? What's happening now?
Well, I think once Go for a Soda runs its course at radio, I'll put out another single. Right now, I'm getting back into full scale writing, so I'm trying to write at least twice a week. And I think, the big picture, I'm just trying to really build the Colin Amey brand. But I'm playing a lot. I'm doing a lot of shows this summer. In fact, this is probably my busiest summer since probably 2007. So, the next 6 months are obviously I'm going to, really push the EP and promote the EP and continue to write and focus on the next year and get some more product out.
Makes perfect sense to me. Now, I have a couple questions for you. I'm going to run off this list for people who are listening so that they know how to find you, because obviously we're Facebook friends, so I know you're on Facebook. You have a Twitter handle, which is @Colin, which is last name spelled Amey and the number 1. You are on Reverb Nation, iTunes, YouTube, allmusic.com. Your website is www.colinamey.ca. Saturday, I know you're playing at Chillbilly Fest, which is in Weirton. Did I say that right?
It's Wyerton. It's just up near Owen Sound, so it's about 3 hours north of where I am right now. But anybody can, if they go to the website colinamey.ca, all the links to the various social media sites that you mentioned, everybody can find them through the website.
Have I missed any of them? I wanted to make sure of that.
Yep. So, yeah.
Everything is good. Everything is covered. Okay, wonderful. Well, we have reached almost the final end of the interview, and if you know anything about me, you would know that the very last minute or two of my interviews are always saved the best for last, as I call it, which is I take my 30 seconds of time to try to tell the guests what I think of them. So this is my chance to have you be quiet and for me to share my thoughts on what I've thought of you over this last hour. So if you'll be kind enough to give me a minute, I'll tell you that, and then we'll let you get on with your weekend. How does that sound?
Sounds awesome. Thanks for having me on the show. I really appreciate it.
Oh, no, it's not a problem at all whatsoever. This is what my impressions of you are. Hopefully you can validate this when I come to Toronto, which will hopefully be no more than 2 or 3 months from now. But what I want to say to you is this, my friend. First and foremost, I'm going to repeat what I told you before, which is obviously I think you have a tremendous voice. And that obviously is a combination of two different things, which is not only a passion for what you do, but actual skill and talent. Not everybody is blessed with having just a beautiful voice that resonates through the course of a song, and you do so. You have the stage presence where you're very viewer-friendly, so to speak, which means your audience, I am certain, is captivated by you and actually plays into you, and you play back to a crowd, which I find very impressive. That's the benchmark status for somebody who is going to be incredibly successful in my mind, because you relate to your audience, they relate to you, you have talent, you have sound. From what I am told, you're a very respectable individual. From what I am told, you're a very, very good man, which is always another impressive point in my opinion. You can be as successful as you want, but at the end of the day, if you're a jerk, it doesn't make a difference. So there's a lot about you that's very impressive. I like the fact that you're very humble about what you do. The fact that you refer to yourself as just a regular average guy is even more awesome. The fact that you were able to step away from the industry for 6 years and come back and bring yourself up bigger and better than you were before obviously makes a statement about yourself. I'm very, very happy and very fortunate to now have a new friend. I'm even more excited at the prospect of meeting you in person, and I am so very, very blessed to have listened to your music, and I'm hoping that you will sing to me in person when I come there. How's that?
Absolutely will. Well, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, wonderful. I have had an absolutely wonderful time, too. I will let you get back to your wonderful, wonderful wife. Congratulations once again to that, and much continued success, and I'm sure we'll be talking in the very near future.
You bet we will. Okay, thanks, Cindy.
All right, honey. Have a great weekend.
You too now. Bye-bye.
All right. All right, folks, that was once again the absolutely amazing Colin Amey. I just want to reiterate to you all the ways to be able to find him. His music is, of course, on his website, www.colinamey.ca, www.allmusic.com, YouTube, iTunes, Reverb Nation. He is on Facebook, of course, as himself, meaning a personal page. And then, of course, his Twitter handle is at COLIN, Amey, AMEY, and then the number 1. As always, lastly, I do not want to make it a point. I can't talk at this point because I've been on the air for an hour. Damn it. Goes without saying. Deborah Patricia Wood, I know you're listening. So this is what I want to say to you. As always, with each interview, as we go on to this course of friendship and to our working relationship, I'm always above and beyond amazed at the people that you bring me by their magnitude of personality, their talent, and just the fact that they work with you says it all. You have a perfect working relationship with the people that you know, and you're even better to your friends. I love you. I thank you so very much for this, and thank you for the opportunity as always. Just one quick reminder before I go off air for the weekend. I hope all of you have a great weekend, but more importantly, Monday, Sin's Chat Corner, Dina Wilcox, author Dina Wilcox, courtesy of my very dear friend Dana Humphrey, 9:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. I will be posting up all the links for Colin on my show page and my personal page shortly, and I'll be posting up information about Dina. Again, that's this coming Monday, 9:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. Hopefully you'll be able to join us. Have yourselves a great weekend again.
What you doing?
Ran out of space on my phone, so I'm deleting some stuff. By singing dog. By goal.
I pronounce you.
By wedding ceremony.
Stop. At Metro PCS, you get 2 free phones with twice as much memory.
Really? Don't say bye to your memories. Switch to Metro PCS and get 2 free LG K20 Plus phones with 32 gigs when you switch 2 lines. Metro PCS. Wireless. Figured out. Coverage not available in some areas. Sales tax not included in phone price. Excludes numbers on the T-Mobile network. See store for details and terms and conditions.
What you doing?
Ran out of space on my phone, so I'm deleting some stuff. By singing dog. By goal.
I pronounce you.
By wedding ceremony.
Stop. At Metro PCS, you get 2 free phones with twice as much memory.
Really? Don't say bye to your memories. Switch to Metro PCS and get 2 free LG K20 Plus phones with 32 gigs when you switch 2 lines. Metro PCS. Wireless. Figured out. Coverage not available in some areas. Sales tax not included in phone price. Excludes numbers on the T-Mobile network. See store for details and terms and conditions.